Judaism, among the world's oldest religions, began over 3,500 years ago in Canaan, encompassing modern Israel and Palestine. Its roots connect to a covenant between God, Abraham, and his descendants, designating them as a sacred people with a promised homeland. Judaism shares an Abrahamic heritage with Christianity and Islam, all worshiping the God of Abraham. Key figures like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Moses significantly influenced the faith. Historically, Judaism thrived mainly in the land of Israel until 70 CE, when the Jewish diaspora led to diverse practices and traditions worldwide. During the Late Bronze Age and Early Iron Age in the Southern Levant region, the Hebrews arrived around 1208 BCE, blending their culture with the existing Canaanite civilization. Two related kingdoms, the Kingdom of Israel and the Kingdom of Judah, emerged, eventually leading to the legendary United Monarchy under figures like Saul, David, and Solomon. While archaeological evidence for this united rule is debated, by 900 BCE, Israel and Judah became separate kingdoms. In 720 BCE, the Neo-Assyrian Empire conquered the Kingdom of Israel, while Judah faced threats from the Neo-Assyrians and Neo-Babylonians. Tragic events unfolded in 586 BCE, when Nebuchadnezzar II besieged Jerusalem, destroying Solomon's temple and exiling the Jewish population to Babylon. This exile marked a transformation of the Israelite religion into a more monotheistic form, setting the stage for Judaism. The dark chapter ended in 538 BCE, when Cyrus the Great of the Achaemenid Persian Empire issued the Edict of Cyrus. This decree allowed the exiled Jewish community to return to their homeland, initiating a period where a distinct Jewish identity flourished in the Persian province of Yehud. This era also witnessed the construction of the Second Temple, symbolizing revival and the beginning of the Second Temple period. The Jewish diaspora traced its roots to events predating the Roman era. When the Assyrians conquered Israel in 722 BCE, Hebrew people were dispersed across the Middle East, gradually fading from historical records. Then, in 597 and 586 BCE, Nebuchadnezzar's deportations divided the Judeans into three groups, one in Babylon and the Middle East, one in Judea, and a third in Egypt. This period, starting in 597 BCE, marked the formal onset of the Jewish diaspora. While Cyrus the Persian allowed Judeans to return home in 538 BCE, many opted to remain in Babylon. Jewish communities persisted, adapting to different cultures while preserving their religious identity. The Roman takeover of Judea in 63 BC brought challenges. Despite a Jewish king, tensions led to a devastating 70 AD revolt, culminating in the Siege of Masada, where the last rebels chose death over surrender. Rome subsequently destroyed Jerusalem, transforming Judea into a Roman province and forcing Jews out of Palestine. This event marked a significant turning point, leading to extensive dispersion of Jews across Africa, Asia, and Europe, a pattern later followed by Christians. By the 1st century, more Jews lived outside their homeland than within it. This dispersion, or diaspora, established major Jewish communities in cities across the Roman Empire. From the Persian Gulf to Spain, Rome itself had approximately 10 synagogue congregations, with a Jewish population peaking at around 100,000. The port city of Ostia revealed an ancient synagogue, offering a glimpse into Jewish life. Moreover, Jewish catacombs in Rome highlighted a vibrant Jewish presence in the city. These discoveries underscore the integration of Jewish communities into Rome's social fabric, participating in commerce, trade, and community life while striving to maintain their distinct identity in a foreign land. Although the Jews longed for a homeland, the diaspora shaped their resilience, adaptability, and determination across diverse cultures and territories. This historical backdrop sets the stage for the emergence of Zionism in the late 19th century. The idea of Zionism, a movement to establish a Jewish homeland, is attributed to Theodore Herzl in 1897, building upon earlier efforts by groups like the Hovevei Zion, who founded Jewish communities in Palestine between 1870 and 1897. Central to Zionism was the goal of re-establishing Jewish sovereignty in Palestine to create a national home. Herzl's vision was realized with the founding of Israel in 1948. While Zionism laid the ideological foundation for Israel, Its organized movement has waned since Israel's establishment. However, many organizations still support Israel, combat anti-Semitism, aid persecuted Jews, and encourage diaspora Jews to move to Israel. Most Israeli political parties continue to identify as Zionist. Modern Israel's origins have both religious and political roots. The biblical promise of a Jewish homeland and the return to Jerusalem's temple have been central to Jewish identity. By the 1800s, increased European anti-Semitism and Jewish national pride led to Jewish emigration to Palestine. Political Zionism gained prominence in the late 19th century, with Herzl advocating for a Jewish state as a response to anti-Semitism. During World War I, in 1917, the Zionists successfully lobbied the British government to issue the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration of 1917 marked a significant moment in the history of Israel's origins. This statement expressed British support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and was conveyed in a letter from Arthur James Balfour to Lord Rothschild, a prominent figure in the Anglo-Jewish community. The declaration, while seemingly straightforward, held complex implications. It fell short of the Zionist aspirations, as they had sought the reconstitution of Palestine as the Jewish national home. Importantly, the document included the provision that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. However, it did not address the political or national rights of these communities, nor did it name them explicitly. Despite these ambiguities, the declaration fueled optimistic expectations among Zionists and appeared to align with the objectives of the World Zionist Organization. Behind the scenes, the British government had several motives for issuing the Balfour Declaration. Firstly, they aimed to gain the support of Jewish opinion, particularly in the United States, for the Allied powers during World War I. Furthermore, they believed that establishing a pro-British Jewish population in Palestine could serve to protect the Suez Canal's approaches in neighboring Egypt, thereby securing a vital communication route to British colonial possessions in India. The Balfour Declaration received endorsement from the major Allied powers and was later incorporated into the British Mandate over Palestine. This mandate was formally approved by the League of Nations on July 24, 1922. Subsequently, in May 1939, the British government altered its policy with a white paper recommending limitations on immigration, allowing for a maximum of 75,000 additional Jewish immigrants, and concluding immigration by 1944, unless the resident Palestinian Arabs provided their consent for further immigration. This policy shift triggered opposition from the Zionist movement, which accused Britain of favoring the Arab population. However, the outbreak of World War II and the eventual establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 would reshape the trajectory of the region's history. This tension and the overarching geopolitical climate of the time set the stage for the United Nations Partition Plan of 1947. The United Nations Partition Plan of 1947 and the subsequent declaration of the State of Israel in 1948 were pivotal moments in the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, influenced by various behind-the-scenes players and geopolitical dynamics. As World War II came to an end, the question of Palestine's future was a complex and contentious issue. The United States, which had earlier supported the Balfour Declaration of 1917, promising a Jewish national home in Palestine, was now navigating delicate diplomatic waters. President Franklin D. Roosevelt had previously assured the Arabs in 1945 that the U.S. would not intervene without consulting both the Jews and the Arabs in the region. Meanwhile, Great Britain, holding a colonial mandate for Palestine, opposed both the creation of a Jewish state and an Arab state in the region, aiming to safeguard its political and economic interests. After President Truman assumed office, he formed a special cabinet committee to address the Palestinian issue. Dr. Henry F. Grady led negotiations with the British committee to discuss Palestine's future. In 1946, Truman approved the admission of 100,000 displaced persons into Palestine and publicly declared his support for the creation of a Jewish state in October. The United Nations Special Commission on Palestine spent 1947 examining the issue and proposed the partition of Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. On November 29, 1947, the United Nations adopted Resolution 181, known as the Partition Resolution, which called for the creation of a Jewish state alongside an Arab state in Palestine. The region surrounding Jerusalem would remain under international control. This plan was met with mixed reactions. The Jewish leadership accepted the proposal, while the Arab leaders rejected it, considering it unfair given their two-thirds majority in the region and ownership of most of the lands. Civil unrest and conflict erupted in Palestine. While the United States initially leaned towards a United Nations trusteeship for Palestine, concerned about the Soviet role in the Arab world and potential oil supply restrictions, Truman ultimately chose to recognize the State of Israel, leading to the Declaration of Israel's independence in 1948. These events were influenced by a complex interplay of factors, including global geopolitics, Jewish-Arab tensions, and the desire for a lasting solution to the Palestinian question. They set the stage for the protracted Israeli-Palestinian conflict that continues to shape the region today. The establishment of Israel in 1948 has faced extensive historical and contemporary criticism. This includes the displacement of a significant portion of Palestine's Arab population at the time, raising questions about fairness and human rights. Israel's actions during the Arab-Israeli conflict, such as military operations and the expansion of illegal settlements in Palestinian territories, have sparked human rights concerns. This includes the treatment of Palestinians, the Gaza Strip blockade, and the denial of post-war Palestinian refugees' return. Criticism comes from various groups and organizations, including activists, the United Nations, non-governmental organizations, European churches, and the media. The United Nations have been actively involved, issuing numerous resolutions related to Israel. Counter-criticisms have emerged, asserting that some criticisms aim to delegitimize Israel's right to exist, leading to discussions about the line between legitimate criticism of Israel and anti-Semitism. This has led to the concept of new anti-Semitism for criticisms perceived to have crossed this threshold. Additionally, there are allegations of ethnic cleansing during the 1947 to 1949 period, a debated topic in historical circles. Israel's occupation of territories, including the West Bank, Golan Heights, and Gaza Strip following the 1967 Six-Day War, has generated legal and political controversies. Israel's annexation of East Jerusalem and the Golan Heights in 1980–81 is unrecognized by any other country and has faced international condemnation due to allegations of violating international law. And Israel's unilateral disengagement from Gaza in 2005 is also subject to differing interpretations of its legal status. The Yom Kippur War of 1973, initiated by Egypt and Syria, aimed to persuade Israel to negotiate on more favorable terms for Arab countries. Starting on Yom Kippur and during Ramadan, this war had significant impacts, leading to the return of the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt and emphasizing the need for diplomatic solutions in the region. In the heart of the ancient Southern Levant, the origins of Israel have been forged through millennia of history, faith, and human endeavor. From the rise of the Natufian culture to the Abrahamic covenant, the land now known as Israel and Palestine has been a cradle of civilization, giving birth to diverse religions and shaping the course of history. As we journey through this remarkable story, let us remember the words of former U.S. President John F. Kennedy, who said, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." In this ever-changing world, understanding the origins of Israel helps us illuminate the path to a more harmonious and peaceful future for all.